Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. First tonight, the peak hospitality body says it's deeply concerned by increasing reports of staff being abused while enforcing coronavirus rules. It's pleading with the government for some restrictions to be dumped to support already struggling businesses.
Here at Customs House Hotel, business is not what it used to be.
Business is terribly reliant on the tourism business, so we're surviving, but to be quite honest,
You can't keep saying to venues that you can have 50% capacity but you can have 100% of your bills. That just doesn't work.
And with many others on the brink of closure, the peak hospitality body is demanding change. Its new action plan saying internal restrictions need to be scrapped.
Either the government needs to ease the restrictions on our venues, i.e. take away the 1 in 2 square metres, allow people to stand up and drink, allow people to dance in venues. If they're not going to do those things, then we need to get some form of stimulus for the industry.
But as that industry works its way through the tough rules, it says customers are fed up, and it's the front of house staff left to deal with the consequences.
people, want to get into your venue, and the restrictions are such that that's not possible. So you've got situations like flare-ups there.
Yeah, we're getting all sorts of stories of staff leaving jobs, etc., looking for other industry jobs because they're sick of getting abused.
There are directions that are in place in the state that mean that people can't consume alcohol standing up. All these staff members are trying to do is quite legitimately enforce those rules that they're bound by as well.
Now the THA wants new resources to educate the public.
We do have to act on public health advice. The Premier's made that clear, and we will continue to act on that advice.
Shouldn't have to put up with rude and arrogant people coming into their venues and causing problems, and quite frankly those people should stay away if they can't abide by the rules.
A stern warning after an unprecedented year.
But in some rare good news for our bruised tourism sector, a new direct flight to and from Tasmania has been announced. To tell us more, we're joined by our reporter Meg Sides. Good evening, Meg. Now, what do we know about this new route?
Kim, we learnt today that Tasmanians will be able to fly directly to and from Canberra by the end of the year. Those flights will be run by Link Airways starting on December 3, but that could be earlier depending on Tasmania's border restrictions. It's the first time there's been a direct flight between Hobart and the nation's capital since 2013. Flights will start with 4 a week, but that might increase to 11 by next year. This will come as welcome news for regular travellers, cutting the flight time down to around 2 hours, but it will be on a much smaller plane.
They hold 34 passengers. There's a flight attendant, there's a galley, there's bathroom facilities, and obviously 2 pilots up the front.
It's been a few years since we've had flights from Canberra, and of course that was largely servicing the kind of political class who wanted to get between Canberra and Tassie. I think it's a different story now. People want to come to Tasmania on holidays.
And Tasmanians are being reminded to jump online tomorrow night for the next round of travel vouchers. And Kim, you might want to get in quick because they sold out within around 40 minutes last time.
Well, the nursing union is calling for psychological assistance for nurses to be bolstered, saying many are still struggling with the trauma following the northwest coronavirus outbreak. Facing a parliamentary inquiry, the union revealed several staff members resigned earlier this year when a new COVID case was transferred to the Northwest Regional Hospital. The union says this was due to the trauma caused by the first wave and is now calling for increased support.
We absolutely need to see that additional support put in to support members, particularly, if we're relying upon that workforce to deal with any further cases of COVID-19 and a potential second wave. It needs to be a real priority.
Recommendations from an independent review into the outbreak are expected to be released by the end of next month. Border closures and low pay packets are being blamed for allied health workers snubbing a career in Tasmania. One organisation says it's a constant battle to attract specialised staff, and it's leaving frustrated patients facing longer waits for treatment.
This centre caters for people with disabilities, particularly children, but now St Giles itself is asking for help.
It's a difficult challenge for Tasmania to bring health professionals to Tasmania.
The long-running struggle to fill specialist positions like speech pathologists and physiotherapists has meant some patient waiting lists have blown out to 12 months.
It's always an issue for regional communities.
An issue not only confined to St Giles but felt statewide. A lack of locally offered courses.
Logically, once people move into state, sometimes it can be challenging to bring them back.
Smaller pay packets and now COVID-19 border closures has left health students feeling concerned about a move here.
There's not a whole lot of incentives to move. I think maybe, I don't know if a lot of places offer relocation bonuses.
Graduate Samantha Williamson has seen the flip side in her native state, Western Australia.
I struggle to find work over there because there's a lot of students graduating and not as many jobs.
Currently, the University of Tasmania doesn't offer any undergraduate allied health courses, but is exploring new ways to deliver training, specifically a master's degree.
That would assist people with other qualifications to skill up.
But for a short-term fix to a long-term problem, many feel the government needs to offer more incentives to prospective students. If not, medicos believe our remote areas will bear the brunt.
The more rural and remote you get, the more difficult recruitment is.
Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmanian State League clubs are bracing for more pain, with AFL Tasmania reportedly reneging on a promise to restore club funding to pre-COVID levels. New boss Damien Gill hasn't committed to extending the statewide competition beyond 2023, leaving clubs in the lurch over their future.
Following on from the typically media-shy Tricia Squires, Damien Gill deflected interview requests after being handed the top job last month, before suddenly appearing with a plea for Tasmanians to give him a shot.
COVID-19's impact has been profound on our industry, and at all levels of the game we will be feeling the effects for years to come.
The 29-year-old was chosen internally ahead of more senior employees with experience at AFL clubs. When questioned whether he's more equipped for the role,
I don't really see that as a fair and reasonable question, to be honest. If you're looking at what I bring to the table, I'm a good fit for the role.
Gill points to his work serving closely alongside Squires, who will soon head to Queensland, and his CV in grassroots football as the reasons why he's the right fit. He will be flanked by 3 regional leaders. The one furthest from Gill's Hobart base may just be the most valuable.
When did you last go to a game in the Northwest?
Good question. Last year it would have been.
But the clubs which are on the shakiest ground are those in the State League. No commitment has been made to extending the TSL beyond 2023 when club licences expire. Worse still, clubs were told at a meeting this morning a promise to restore funding to pre-pandemic levels won't happen. Clubs lost more than half their funding this year, forcing many to abandon player payments just to keep the season alive. The question beyond 2020 is how long will clubs and players fight the AFL's fight for statewide football and resist returning to regional competitions? Adding to the pressure, club staff are on JobKeeper and councils have waived fees to lease ovals, agreements which may not continue next season.
Initial discussions this morning with clubs, it was really productive. We're working together on the coming days in terms of what the model looks like.
As football parlance goes, a 4-quarter effort will be needed. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
There has been a stunning development in the case of a Launceston couple accused of human trafficking and slavery, with the prosecution dropping its case in the Supreme Court. Federal police arrested the pair in July last year over claims they deceived a woman about her entry into Australia, resulting in exploitation. The man in his 50s and woman in her 40s cannot be named for legal reasons. Both are now free from any bail conditions. And Tasmania Police has also paused to pay tribute to its fallen colleagues. Officers joining family members to remember the 34 Tasmanian police members who have died as a result of injuries sustained on duty. The local service also paying tribute to those who've fallen in nearby jurisdictions.
It is an important day to remember those police officers who have given their lives to serve our community, and especially the tragedy that occurred in April in Victoria.
No police officer has died in Tasmania since 1999. The Royal Hobart Hospital's paediatric ward will soon have the latest in modern technology, thanks to the generosity of Tasmanian businesses and individuals. Nearly $500,000 has been raised through the Give Me 5 for Kids appeal, with hospital staff already putting the money to work.
A large donation set to make a big difference for sick Tasmanian children. More than $439,000 now in the hands of the Royal Hobart Hospital's paediatric unit.
I think it is critical. I get to see where the money goes directly. The families do get to see where that money goes.
The money raised by the annual Give Me 5 for Kids appeal, most coming from the proceeds of this Madison House project, specially designed for a child living with a disability.
We are so thrilled with the final tally. It was more than we expected, and it's going to do wonderful things here at the hospital.
This year's tally already going to good use, with specialised equipment being purchased for the ward. A support app for new parents is also being developed.
It's nice to be at the cutting edge so that Tasmanian infants and children, because it's not just Hobart babies, we provide support for critically ill newborns and children across the state.
In previous years, funds have been used for a number of projects, including this recently opened Aurora Australis display in the foyer of the ward.
Being able to have that relationship with the Australian Antarctic Division and to be able to use that as an education sessions for patients and bring that theme into the hospital has been great.
A tough economic situation not dampening the generosity.
It's one of those services that you never really appreciate until you have some personal engagement with it.
Coronavirus definitely shook things up, but it was great to see that everyone was still so generous, even in such a hard time.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmanians are being urged to get on their feet next month and help raise money to support those living with epilepsy. Coronavirus restrictions have forced Epilepsy Tasmania to replace its traditional fundraising event with an online challenge. Locals are urged to ride, swim or walk from October 1st to 25th and set their own fundraising and kilometre targets. Hobart performance group Croon also joining in as ambassadors for the event.
Well, mood hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore.
People with epilepsy through COVID have been struggling a bit because of the isolation factor, so we're just hoping that this will just raise awareness and get people talking.
Around 20,000 Tasmanians are living with the condition. Organisers of this year's Daffodil Day have praised Tasmanians for their support. The Cancer Council raising $75,000 through its annual fundraising appeal. The final tally bolstered this morning with a significant cheque handed over from RACT.
So to have their support this year has raised another $10,000 for us at Daffodil Day, and they put the challenge out there to the corporate people to donate as well. So it's been a fantastic outcome for both organisations.
All money raised will go towards cancer research in Tasmania. Stopping at a red traffic light may now be slightly more enjoyable if you're in Launceston, with new street art transforming bland electrical boxes. Local artists, including school groups, have been busy designing the paintings, inspired by the late Australian illustrator Margaret Stone's. There's been plenty of feedback from passing motorists.
Anyone that is saying anything out the car window is all positive, so it's been actually quite heartwarming, yeah.
Traffic signals, when they're set up, if you see them in their green state, they don't look that exciting, and they're going to be on every corner around the city.
50 works have been decorated around the area. As a long-spined sea urchin continues to devastate much of Tasmania's coastline, 7 new projects have been funded to reduce the pest species numbers. The initiatives range from a cull of the species to a short film designed to educate viewers of the urchin's impacts.
They consume kelp, they consume biomatter on the reef, and they spread a lot further than abalone do, so they can actually take over and consume reefs.
This is a problem that's going to be here forever. It's not something we can just fix and go away. So what our research needs to do and what industry and government need to do is look at long-term solutions.
Urchin populations on the east coast continue to threaten commercial and recreational fisheries in the region. The Primary Industries Minister has committed to improving the department's consultation with farmers following fresh concerns over mainland potato imports. It comes as a South Australian company could start importing the vegetables into Tasmania, which farmers say may pose a biosecurity risk.
There has been inadequate consultation to date with the industry, and I've made those views clear to the department, and going forward further consultation will be absolutely made available.
A statement of reasons for the South Australian imports will now be handed to farmers to better understand the decision.
Good evening. Lyowini kicked off the day with -5, while Ouse warmed up to 19. Hobart 18, Launceston 16, Burnie 13 and Devonport 14 degrees. Grove and Friendly Beaches 18 today, Strawn, St Helens and Flinders Island 16, Smithton and King Island 15, Lowhead 14, Lyowini got to 9. Low-level cloud and fog cleared the south this morning, while low-level cloud remained about the north throughout the afternoon. Thickening high cloud did stream over from the northwest later. The large area of cloud pushes back to northwest Western Australia, a bit in the south there as well, some more coastal cloud off New South Wales and Queensland. Tomorrow a trough crosses Tasmania and Victoria, followed by a cold front in the afternoon. The trough also reaching parts further north over the North Island. Winds mainly northeasterly. They will tend north-northwesterly tomorrow afternoon, reaching 20 to 30 knots over most waters and up to 35 knots later over the southwest. Gale warning for waters between Southeast Cape and Sandy Cape, and a strong wind warning for remaining coastal waters apart from off the east coast of Flinders Island. Forecast for tomorrow, 20 for Hobart and cloudy, 19 the top for Geeveston, possible shower, cloudy for Bothwell, 17 the maximum. Launceston 15 with showers, Devonport the same, 14 the top for Cressy. Burnie tomorrow expecting 15 degrees with showers, becoming windy too in the west, Strawn 17 degrees and 15 for Curry on King Island. St Helens a shower or two, 17 the top, 19 and cloudy for Swansea, Orford 17 degrees. On Thursday, partly cloudy and becoming windy, a shower over the west. Possible showers on Friday as temperatures for some tip over into the 20s, fine but windy over the east coast. And on Saturday, gusty northwesterly winds turning west-southwesterly as rain sweeps across the state. Partly cloudy in Perth tomorrow, showers for Adelaide and Melbourne, afternoon showers forecast for Sydney with 22, fine in Brisbane and 25, 25 as well in Darwin, or that'll be overnight, heading to 34 during the day tomorrow. Just 14 at the moment in Hobart, bit cloudy, partly cloudy in Launceston, 10 and 10 degrees right now in Devonport. That's the weather right up to the minute. Kim, you're totally informed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Murphy. That's all your news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Thanks for joining us this evening. Good night.